So the Leadership and Innovation Lab, which I run, also operates the LIL Venture Fund, which is our mechanism to give students funding, student projects. So I've said this like I think half an hour ago that a lot of student projects face financial hurdles at some point. So if your project is going to expand, at some point you're going to incur costs like website maintenance, domain names. All of these require money. So if you feel that way, you're not inadequate. You're just normal. All right, it's normal part of the growing pains of a project. So the LIL Venture Fund was set up with the goal of helping students overcome this hurdle by giving no strings attached funding for promising student projects. And the way to get that funding is to enter the IdeAction Global Pitch Competition. So I'm happy to announce that we have finished the selection, and here are some stats about this funding cycle, okay? This is the first time that selection was done via this pitch competition. It used to be just an application form, but we've decided that due to the number of people interested in funding, as well as make sure that there is a more structured process in place to select which projects are deserving, we've introduced the pitch competition, and so the winners of this competition obtain the funding. I think that this has actually worked out pretty well. We have seen a direct increase in the quality of the thought that is being put into these project pitches, as well as the long-term planning. The total funds requested this time is about 11K, so 11,700 USD total requested. And the total funds that we awarded for this funding cycle is 5,000. So you can see that means that some projects were awarded partial funding. All right. So a little bit about the evaluation process. All the applications entries are reviewed holistically and separately, so by two limited partners of the LIL Venture Fund. That means your competition entry is independently reviewed by two different people who don't discuss with each other their views about it. So it's like, how do I say this? Independent opinion on your work. And then we get to a consensus about funding decision, and the amount is after everyone has done their own independent evaluation. So the general partner, which is me, I review all recommendations by my limited partners to determine the final funding decisions and amounts. So that was the stats for this funding cycle. Now let's move on to who obtained funding. Small drum roll. All right, so Catherine, I don't think Catherine is here. No. Catherine, who runs Period Proud. So a little bit about this organization. This is an NGO working to support menstruators in tackling stigmas and managing their periods. She's based in Auckland, New Zealand. So she's chosen to make a letterbox that can be placed outside of pharmacies, doctor's offices, that contain menstrual products, hygiene, sanitary products. These products are funded through fundraisers or our funding, and then put inside the letterboxes for anyone to take. Funds will then be used to obviously repurchase stocks, fill the boxes, as well as the fund website domain and management. So you can see that this is a very gender-oriented project. I believe it's also, as far as I know, first of its kind in New Zealand. So we're definitely very supportive of that. We have decided to award Catherine 400 for Period Proud. So congratulations to you, Catherine. I think you'll watch this video at some point. Next up, we have Hope for Hearing. I think Daniel is here. Yes. So, hey, Daniel. For those of you who weren't here yesterday, Daniel actually presented about Hope for Hearing. So this is a fully student-led nonprofit organization that raises funds and awareness for hearing loss. Interesting thing is that yesterday Daniel shared with us a quote that I was also very moved by. That's why I still remember it, and I think I will continue to remember it, which is that blindness cuts you off from things, but hearing loss cuts you off from people. So not being able to hear truly is a very socially isolating thing. So that's kind of what Daniel's organization hopes to tackle. In the year 2023, they have raised funds on their own without LVF help, but they have now expanded across Canada. And very honestly, Daniel has told us that they underestimated the cost of running an organization that's nationwide. This is understandable. So of course, the more you expand, the more funding you'll need. Funds will be used for funding their 16 chapters across Canada to run initiatives for this new school year, purchasing the materials and resources that all of these chapters need to support their initiatives. So for this very good work that this group is doing, we are awarding 800 USD. I know that this is not the full amount of what you've asked, Daniel, but hopefully this will go some way towards helping you guys in your cause. So I still want to say congratulations to you. All right, next up is Drew. Drew is not here. Drew is one of my students who actually joined the LIL intensive program a couple months back, and he is particularly interested in forest bathing. I don't know if you guys know what is forest bathing. It is if you've heard of it, good. And be a little bit patient with me as I explain what this is. Forest bathing is a Japanese alternative therapy technique where basically if you're depressed or sad or not well, actually doctors in Japan can prescribe you to go forest bathing. There is a specific Japanese word for it, which I cannot remember now. But basically, you go to the forest and, it helps you feel better to be outside in the nature. So, whether or not you think that this is real or just placebo effect, that's fine. But that's exactly what Dhruv is looking into, whether actually there is scientific basis to forest bathing. Is the improvement in your wellness scientifically corroborated? So his group not only leads people on forest bathing walks. He's actually based in New Jersey. He organizes people to go forest bathing once a month. So like literally they all go take a walk together in the forest and they practice these wellness techniques. He also is looking into the scientific side of it. So the research into phytoncides, which I believe is the element that is the key element here that we're looking at about whether or not this actually leads to increase in well-being. This is a very unexplored field so far with a lot of promise. So from what Dhruv tells me, within the short amount of time that they've been working on this, on neural cells, they have advanced the field quite a bit. They've conducted self-survivability tests, proving that phytoncides are usable in neuroculture experiments, and they are preparing to run I'm not a STEM person, a very complicated experiment from what they tell me, which would be the biggest advancement in phytoncide work in a very long time if the result comes back positive. So there are a lot of chemicals and reagents that are needed to run this experiment to be able to conclusively prove their results. So that's what they applied for funding for, as well as to continue growing their actual forest bathing group out of New Jersey. So we're awarding this project 700 USD. It's very innovative, very new. And I like the fact that they're tackling the project both from the let's try this as a wellness technique as well as let's look into the scientific basis of this. I think that this is a very, very good combo. All right, cool. And Drew is here with us. So Drew is running Enjeti, as all of you just heard from him. So a little bit more in detail about their service in Enjeti. This is the first of its kind in Cameroon, in the African continent. Now that they've launched in Cameroon, they would like to grow across Africa. Hopefully in 6 months, they want to recruit more kids with special needs and more volunteers to work with them. And also spread to, like I said, other countries in Africa. Why is it that they need funding, which I think is definitely a legit argument. So there is less concept of volunteering in Africa, just because the socioeconomic environment there is different. So if you want adult therapists to work in the Enjeti project and provide the kinds of help that children with special needs require, they need to be paid. So of course, there's also access to Wi-Fi, access to laptops, access to going online and Zoom, these kinds of things that constitute the basis of their service. So we are awarding Enjeti project 1,000 USD to expand in Africa. And, we wish them all the success. Congratulations to you, Drew. Next up, we have Catherine Ma, who runs Bridging Generations. I believe Catherine is in Toronto. Also a student of mine, although I have no personal how do I say this? I have no personal involvement in these projects. So Catherine runs Bridging Generations. It's a multimedia project spotlighting the voices of Chinese Canadian families, people. Basically, I think they're looking at the generational differences in Chinese Canadians, basically first-gen immigrants versus the children raised in Canada. So far, they've interviewed 16 interviewees of Chinese immigrants and second-generation descent, asking them to reflect on their identity, how it impacts their relationship with their family. So they really want to represent this huge community that's not really discussed, at least in Toronto, second-generation youth. So they've created some interviews, some videos now, but the project is quite an early stage. They're hoping to invest money into YouTube ads, which can cost quite a lot, in order to increase their reach. The remaining money is going to go into organizing an in-person screening event for their work, which I think is a great idea. So booking a venue and hospitality for attendees, all of these things cost money. So we are awarding Bridging Generations 500 USD to do that. Okay. Next up, Material Bank, which is also Catherine. So this is a good juncture for me to tell you that there's actually no restriction on if you have 2 projects, you are welcome to submit 2 entries, which is what Catherine did. There's no restriction on 1 per person. So it's entirely evaluated based on merit and based on the quality of your thought process and what you're suggesting that you do with the money. All right. So Material Bank is another of Catherine's projects, federally registered nonprofit organization under Ontario. So I want to point to this federally registered. So for those of you here who are not that familiar with incorporation or perhaps not aware, in places like US or Canada, there is state level or province level and federal level, national level, okay? So you can be a state level or province level registered MPO, or you can be a national level, federal level MPO. These are different things. There's a different application process. The state level one is easier, obviously, and the national or federal level one is much harder. So getting to a federal level registered MPO is an accomplishment of its own. And I remember when I first heard about this project, Material Bank, when it was very, very small, and Catherine had just started it in her school and there was nobody involved yet. And today it's grown into a federally registered MPO. So well done to you, Catherine. Their mission and purpose is to I think reuse educational materials for marginalized communities. There we go. So basically they redistribute and donate school materials free of charge. People who have donated things like old laptops, notebooks, pens and pencils, educational materials, and those donated materials are then given to people who need it. Now they are rapidly growing and expanding their donation collection through their marketing and ambassador program at other schools. So ambassador program is the way that they spread their geographic reach to other schools. They basically recruited ambassadors to spread the material bank in different locations. So you can imagine the amount of stuff that they've collected, and their houses are filled with boxes of donations. So they need to rent a storage unit to continue taking in donations. This makes sense to me, so that they can continue to collect and store and distribute donations. They also have a goal to host 5 more different events, and all of these require venue booking fees. So we are awarding Material Bank 800 USD to continue their good work. Catherine actually didn't write over here how many people they've impacted so far, but it's quite a big number. All right, last one. Green Society. So Victor was here yesterday. I don't think he's here now. Victor is, I want to say Vancouver, or in Canada. It's either Toronto or Vancouver. His organization, if you were not here yesterday, is called Green Society. So it's about environmental awareness and activism. The most unique thing about his project is the fact that they run an annual climate fiction writing competition. So we don't usually see this in student projects, the fact that they run a competition and the fact that it's about climate fiction, which, you know, for those of you who are not aware, it's a very unique and niche genre. Don't worry, because like before I met Victor, I didn't know what climate fiction was either. I learned that from Victor. Basically, it's like a apocalyptic fiction, but because of climate change. So it's a very unique niche. So they have their own writing competition on this. And the competition last year was quite successful, and this year it's bigger. So they're trying to apply for the funding to offer prizes for their contest, to be able to invite guest speakers for their environmental workshops, obviously also to obtain judges for the competition entries. Any extra funding that they receive will be donated to environmental charities, funds, or invested into green tech companies. So very well done. Excellent. Thank you, Victor. And we will be awarding them 800 USD for the good work that they're doing. So you can see over here that all of these student groups, really started from extremely small. I remember when I first met these students and it was just the planning stage. There was nothing. And see what it's grown to today. And hopefully with funding, they will be able to get bigger and better. So I want to kind of tell each and every one of you here today that, none of these, actually, a lot of these students that you see here today who won funding, when I first met them, they didn't think that something like this was possible either. So if that's how you're feeling, you're not alone. It's very normal to feel that way. And they didn't get here in a day. Rome was not built in a day. These kinds of projects are not built in a day. It's usually something like a year and a half to get to this kind of scale. It's really just a question about perseverance, not giving up, seeking help when needed, such as funding through LVF, such as emailing me and asking, Maya, help me. All right. So excellent. I'm also launching a new service by the LVF. This is new. We never had this before. So as an additional perk for the project's awarded funding, the LVF will provide a further new service, which is customized videography. We will produce for our funded projects and organizations customized video clip in accordance to what you need. This could be a promotional video, an explanatory clip, a marketing clip, whatever it is that you need, tell us and we will make it for you. Just a short clip of like maybe 5 minutes. The official videographer for the LVF will be our very own Dan. Dan is, I believe, based in North America as well. Dan is very proficient in making videos, and he will become our official videographer for our projects. Excellent. Okay, congratulations to all of our awardees. You will receive information about how funds will get to you and monitoring procedures shortly. So as part of getting funding from the LVF, you subject your project to monitoring on a monthly basis. This is nothing onerous. Basically, we just want to know how you're doing and what are you actually using the funds in the ways that you said you would. That's it. All right, it's like a 15-minute check-in every month. So you will get more information on this shortly, either by tomorrow or Tuesday. Okay. Special thanks to our LVF Limited partners for this funding cycle. We have Annie, Sandeep, Rithvik, Matt, Nicholas, Victor, and Andy. Don't worry, nobody here evaluated their own project. That was made very clear so that there is no conflict of interest. Okay. I also wanted to give a special thanks to John, who assisted me with the preparations for this showcase. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. We have reached the end of our fall 2023 showcase. I hope this was useful for all of you. Recordings will be made public and on our YouTube channel as well, so not to worry about that. If you are a presenter, you will receive a clip of your specific presentation segment for your own keepsake. Thank you, everybody, for your support of the Leadership and Innovation Lab and everything that we do. And I hope to see you at one of our future events. Have a lovely rest of your day, guys. Bye.